Yes,
Yeah.
hopefully. Yeah, good. It's
Yeah.
good stuff. Happy pills, baby. Happy pills. Welcome, everyone, to our daily success call. It's Wednesday, March 30th, 2022. John Lavinia is here with you. It's 1:15 p.m. here in the great state of Florida. And wherever you are, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Yes, eat your vitamin B, everyone. So Scott, just before we went live, Scott and Alec and some others were talking about the challenges and complications and tribulations of getting accounts set up. I do want to congratulate Dora, who's officially a business owner. There you go. So now not only is she a business owner, but she has a document saying that she is. So that's for what it's worth. I'm thinking about a topic out of all this. A topic, what I was hearing just before we went live was that the Etsy in this case was the platform being discussed where they might think you're a crook or something if you're not going in there and behaving in a way that they deem optimal, right? Posting something to your account and all this. And I think it's pretty commonplace that people get their Etsy accounts suspended, and then there's a form letter you send in. Scott, you know about this stuff, right? You know how to navigate the bureaucracies of.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fortunate. I didn't have to go through any of that stuff because I was paying attention to my training and,
Oh.
and by doing that and listening to other folk, I didn't make those mistakes by thinking I knew everything. So I really did rely on really, going over, I remember I went through the training 3 times before I started making moves even. So to understand what I was doing, but yeah,
Right.
that to persevere and to make sure that no is not in the word done,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because that's what we want, is we want to have it done, right? So yeah.
Sure. Well, it's interesting. Let's take that up. Thank you, Scott. So Scott benefited from training. He also benefited from mentorship, right? Because there are people who've been down that road. Those are the people that wrote the training, right? People like Rachel, Amy, Adam, right? So there is value and a wonderful time saver when we take the path of the student rather than the path of the pioneer. I mean, pioneering sounds cool if you don't mind a few arrows in the back and and all that. I have, let me tell you guys a story. You want to hear a story? Of course you do. Of course you do. It's story time with Uncle John. Here we go. So my wife just hired a mentor to help with something that we clearly are not competent in this area. And the area of interest is gardening. And so we just hired a mentor and paid hundreds of dollars for this person to come out and take a look at our land, ask us a bunch of questions. And this is the initial stage, you see, of the guidance that we'll be receiving from this mentor. Now, some people have a green thumb. This person purportedly does. We do not. Okay. Now, my wife is better than I am at this sort of thing. I mean, I know all about machinery and stuff like that. I'm good at some stuff, but that's not one of the things. My plants, like that ivy and that Dracaena, are fake, and they're in just the perfect condition that they were in when I bought them 20 years ago, however long I've had them decorating my office. Okay, but when it comes to actual living plants, we obviously need guidance. Couple that with the fact that we're in a new environment. I've lived in Arizona and the West for 20 years. Here we are in Florida, right? For the last couple of months. I don't know. There's sand. There's just sand, right? Try digging a hole in Arizona. Good luck. Bring the dynamite and the excavation equipment, right? Dig a hole here. You just grab a handful of dirt, right? It's a completely different world. Humidity, right? Sea level and rain and, all this. So we know that we don't know. And so we did what? We invested in people who do know. This is a really smart thing to do, by the way. And it's one that some of you, depending on, what you've done up to this point, you may be reticent to do that, right? Well, hold on a second. Pay for mentoring. Well, here's the thing. when you look at people like Rachel and Adam, Adam's a perfect example. So you all know Adam, he's our head e-commerce coach. He knows a lot about e-commerce. Okay, a lot. Where did he learn that stuff? Well, he learned a lot of it from Rachel. Okay, and so to the point where he became a competent teacher of these things. But then if you go up the line, all right, where did Rachel learn this stuff? Right? Well, she has mentors too, to this day. To this day. So you want to be mentored by someone who not only has demonstrated, at least competence, perhaps excellence in a certain area, but also someone who receives mentoring. Because I'll tell you what, a dangerous spot is to think you know everything. Scott alluded to that as well, right? He knew that he didn't know everything. The surest way to learn nothing is to think you already know. I know are dangerous words. Dangerous. All right. And I've learned that. Through experiment. What did Socrates say? He said, I know nothing but the fact of my ignorance. And he apparently knew some stuff. All right. So to hear something like that come out of a mouth of a guy like that, well, all right. So who am I? Right. Now, this isn't self-deprecation. Okay. This is just, basically assessing, the obvious, right? So I think there are things that you've become proficient at and even excellent at. And what is excellence? I would say that it's a commitment to completion. It's getting to the done consistently. It's having that perseverance that we just heard about, and the persistence that we heard from Dora, right? She's the PETA girl. I'm going to call you PETA girl from now on. That's not pita bread. It's an acronym. So figure it out. But squeaky wheel gets the oil. So start squeaking, right? So perseverance, what does that mean? Per means through, severe, through severity, that you can get through severity. Now, that doesn't mean that life has to be drudgery. Although the kind of day I've been having, eating my vitamin B, sometimes you got to persevere. Sometimes you got to get through stuff. Right. But and by the way, Scott and everyone else, a lot of that is induced by my own assumptions. Right. So my own difficulties can be induced by my own assumptions or, expectations of other people to do or not do this or that. Right. So we're not in this alone. Keep that in mind, too. Right. You're going to be dealing with, here's some wannabe bureaucrat making 30 grand a year, suspending your Etsy account or something and flexing their power, right? It's kind of like a homeowners association, person, right? Their power. Yeah. Okay, great. So, so you get to deal with people. That's fine. However, there is somebody, you in this case, showing up at the helm, steering the ship. Hopefully there is. So really it all comes down to our willingness, I think, to subordinate, in many cases, subordinate pleasing or unpleasing methods. Here are my preferences or non-preferences for this or that actions that need to be taken, because I've got a goal big enough and relevant enough, like we talked about briefly yesterday with Pat. I've got a goal that's worth getting uncomfortable for, persevering. Okay. So again, this is not to suggest that business or life must be drudgery, but there are times when you've got to persevere. You've got to be resilient as an entrepreneur. I've got a project I've been working on for a couple of years that is still, it's fruitful, it's good. It's not, it's not all bliss, right? There's things that I still haven't accomplished with that. There's goals. Right? There's unfulfilled desires, seeking fulfillment, seeking expression. And isn't that a good thing? Can we not celebrate the journey? I'm asking you, right? Is there joy in the journey? You guys tell me. A lot of times, as much as I like and celebrate, done and commitment to completion and being excellent at this or that, there are things that I'm not excellent at that I'm getting more excellent all the time, but they're not completed. And so I find that I don't stop to smell the roses a lot of times on the journey. I just want, I want to get to the end result. But think of it like this. If it's something of significance and of magnitude, if you're doing something of note, Is instant gratification like really is that it? Probably not. Probably not. You know what? I would say not. In fact, I've been studying recently, restudying, because I've been through this several times, just like Scott went through his training several times, because the number of times you go over the material, more stuff gets in, more stuff makes sense. It's more real to you now because you touched that machinery, and now it's not just a theory. Now you know, oh, that looks like that, and here's the buttons you click on, right? So this becomes more real to you, and you get to go faster the more you go through and apply what you've learned. But there are times when I've had the desire to get to the fruit on the tree, and yet in a completely new environment, like I am physically right now with gardening, but in a completely new environment, I had to recognize, and I still to this day have to recognize that there's a gestation period for everything, right? And if we're looking for an exponential increase, let's say you came here with the idea that you're going to replace your income from your job or other business or whatever you're doing. That's good. That's good and admirable. Okay. And let's say that you trained for some years. Maybe you went to university, maybe you're a doctor. I don't know, right? We got doctors here. We got all people from all different backgrounds, different walks of life, different professions, different degrees and paperwork hanging on their wall or not, right? I mean, all different backgrounds. And so what was the investment for you to get to that place of competence or certification, and to be a professional? What is a professional? Someone who gets paid to do those things, versus the hobbyist, which is someone who pays to do those things, as golf, for example. So there are people who pay to go play golf, and then there are people who get paid to go play golf. You see the difference? There's the difference, right? Hobby, professional. So for you to become a professional in that area, there was an investment, time, effort, money, whatever, right? And was it instant gratification? Is that what it was? No, you invested, you worked your ass off and you succeeded. So well done. You're very able, very nice, very nice. Okay. But here you are in a new environment. Some of you may be attempting to go it alone. Well, good luck with that. Did you accomplish what you did thus far in your life by going it alone? No. I mean, things of note. We're talking about things of note, significance, exponential increase. So what leads to that exponential increase? Going from ground zero to, let's say, for example, replacing your income or creating that lifestyle, doubling, your best so far, and then, scaling up from there, right? Well, it's little incremental increases that lead to exponential increase. That doesn't happen overnight. Now, some people come here with relevant skills and aptitudes because they've been in this space or dancing around it, or they've got a head full of this stuff already. Just like I have with personal development psychology and philosophy and stuff. That's my thing. That's my thing, apparently. So I could, people sometimes marvel at this. John, how do you come up with these quotes? Oh my goodness, you're quoting Goethe, and here's the other guy, and Socrates, holy cannoli. Well, I've been swimming in this stuff for decades. I was interested. So you got to find how you can be, and hopefully you have found how you can be interested, how you can enjoy the journey, because it's a journey. It's a journey. Every time I crack open a book and I read about the, the truths of life or whatever, and I have some cognition, it's like, wow, that's great stuff. I may have read it 5 times before, but I need reminders all the time. One of the things that I've been studying recently, again, is the psychology of what I would call posture. In other words, a relaxed confidence, a position of knowing that you've got the prize, knowing that you've got the golden goose when entering a conversation with a potential client and stuff like this. So, John, don't you already know this stuff? Yeah, I do. But I also know that the most dangerous spot to be is thinking you already know, right? So get some nuance, get some, brush up on that, polish that up, right? And one of the things that the author I'm reading right now is talking about, a guy named Orncliffe, he pitches investment deals, right? $100 million. We're going to buy the airport, and so he's playing a high level sales game, and he's good. He's really good at it, and he's invested well over 10,000 hours into getting good at this. But one of the things he talked about is the idea of dopamine. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Dopamine. It's a chemical or hormone, or you get in your bloodstream, and it's the seeking of pleasure, right? Dopamine hit, right? People get this sometimes, and they go on Facebook, and they're posting stuff, and people like their stuff. Oh yeah, right. So that's the feelings that or the chemicals. I'm not the doctor guy, okay, but the feelings of elation and hope for gain, which is one of our main drivers as humans doing the life thing, right? I mean, you've got hope for gain and avoidance of loss, right? Seek pleasure, avoid pain, that whole thing. But dopamine, according to the author, is greater when we are anticipating gain, not getting, not done. In other words, the chase is better than the catch a lot of times for people. The hope for gain, think of it like retail therapy. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? So you're on Amazon, or you're walking through the shopping mall, and you see the items that you would like to accompany you on this journey of life. And you get the dopamine. Ooh, look at that marketing, right? Look at that. Oh, wow, look at the ad. And oh, look, I like that handbag, or the car. Guys, I remember when I bought my Maserati, there was it was the CEO or the head guy over at the place in Italy talking about the big reveal of the new Quattroporte, right? It's the first Pininfarina designed Maserati in 50 years or whatever, because Pininfarina has just been doing the Ferraris, and now we got them over here. So anyway, but they unveiled the car, and this is what the guy said in his Italian English, okay? He said, "We designed the car like a beautiful woman. You see her one time, you fall in love." Sign me up, damn it. He pressed my dopamine buttons, right? And I mean, it's a pretty good looking car. It's very nice, So I paid $130,000 to drive this car. And then I sold it for a lot less. You want to talk about depreciating assets? You want to talk about blowing money on stupid stuff? This isn't instructions, guys. This is called I'm an idiot. That's what this is called, okay? But he pressed the buttons. The dopamine. Okay, now once I got the car, dopamine levels decline. So here you are doing your retail therapy, putting stuff in your cart, okay, which other people are going to do, right? Oh, I like that coffee cup. I like that t-shirt. Was it yesterday or Monday or whatever? We talked about impinging on the emotional state of the potential buyer. There it is, dopamine, right? How does it make them feel to hope to gain that item in their life, right? So, but once it's fulfilled, well, I'm on to the next thing. My daughter could demonstrate this to you, like brilliantly. If you want like a course in mastery on, how to add stuff to your cart. Okay, now once she has it, well, it's on to the next stuff, right? It's the constant seeking of more stuff. What is that? That's dopamine, right? It's not having the stuff. And once she's got the stuff, it's in a pile in a room. And I mean a pile. So we're teaching, delayed gratification, earning the money to do that. And she runs an e-commerce business, by the way. She does. My 11-year-old daughter. She sells, let's see, these fidget things and slime that she makes, right? So mom and dad buy the ingredients. She does the slime factory thing, and she sells like jars of slime. Apparently that's a thing. People like that. I don't, but other people do. She's got some custom jewelry. So So, but you know what? I think that's a beautiful lesson, right? All right. Well, if you want the stuff, well, let's exchange. Let's make that happen, right? Now that's not always fun for her, although she does like making the slime, and she does like sourcing the fidget things. And you guys know what I'm talking about? It's like little rubber things you play with and little things, spinners. And okay, okay. So what does that reveal? That reveals, as they say in the car business, there's an ass for every seat, right? You're selling globs of slime. Yeah, yeah. People buy that. People buy anything. So don't overthink this. Back to the dopamine idea. How does it make little Sally feel to see here's the strawberry scented pink slime. Oh, I gotta have that dopamine. All right. So, and this isn't good, bad, right, or wrong. It just is. What's my point with all this today? What's my point is that if you don't have your eye on the goal, on the thing that you're hoping to gain, on the experience that you're intending to have, then it becomes drudgery. Then you're not smelling the roses. Regardless, eat your vitamin B. All right, some of it's kicking in right now. Good times. All right, anybody got some ideas on this? Stu, you got a hot mic. What's up, Stu? Maybe Stu doesn't know he has a hot mic. That's okay. Anybody else? Feel free to jump on out here. Scott Barker.
Yes, good morning, John. I think if you put what you're saying in the context of the goals you set, you can get the dopamine effect, which I think is very real, from a huge goal. Once you achieve it, that's fine. But I think you've also got to set yourself, obviously, the smaller goals on the way, the steps, and you can get excited about those, obviously preemptively in contemplating their achievement, and when you actually get the goal. So you're getting the dopamine hit from both sides. But also, I think, even if you don't worry so much about the small goals, but you should, I think. But even if you didn't, and you only focused on the larger goal, another way of making up for that dopamine hit during the time of achievement, during the journey, is to have an attitude of celebration, or an attitude of gratitude, which is very pervasive, which means that anything that's good, anything that is good that comes your way, whether it's in the business or not, can give you a sense of joy and a sense of wow, a sense of this is fantastic. It could be just a beautiful scene you see on the way to work, or just the fact that you've grown a plant from a seed, and that is very satisfying for those who do like that. Just to create something beautiful out of nothing. That can be that's why I think a lot of people do gardening. It's a slow thing, but it is still dopamine, because you see every day something new, something fresh, something happening, something alive. And I think in the same way it's with this business. If you have an attitude of sincere appreciation for everything, and you can work that into your mind, then anything you do, whether it's a single product development or a new idea, or, as you say before, a new way of sort of seeing another nuance in your knowledge, or in the business, or some aspect, that becomes a cause of celebration. Every little thing becomes a cause of celebration. So you can get the dopamine hits, maybe not as big, but still a dopamine hit, and it keeps you going, keeps you in that zone. So I mean, obviously though, if you have the smaller goals on the way, great. Say if you set a goal for a certain amount of money, or a certain amount of number of products you want to produce, you set a lesser goal, for each day, how much you want to do, and when you achieve that, or you achieve an accumulative sort of number of products on the market, for example, that can be a cause of celebration. And I think that should not be underestimated, how important that is.
Mm-hmm.
Have that little Irish jig, if you want, on the occasion of 100 or 200 or whatever the product number is, or 1,000, whatever. That all becomes significant, and that doesn't make it any less. I mean, when you get 1,000 or 1,100, the 1,100 is no. It doesn't lose its flavor, because you get caught in the pattern of celebration. It becomes a way of seeing the world through that lens. And when you see the world through the lens of celebration, everything just becomes exciting.
Thank you. Thank you, Scott. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome. Who else? Nobody. I put you all to sleep today. That just happened. That just happened. Hey, Dora.
Hi. No, you didn't put us to sleep. We were just contemplating what you were saying.
Okay.
So yeah, I've been celebrating the little things a lot lately. Um, Today, my LLC finally went through. I'm so excited about that. You were
Well
talking
done.
about gardening and enjoying the little things back in, I guess it was end of January, maybe beginning of February. Florida had the few and far between freezes that we get.
Yeah, the iguanas were falling out of the tree. I didn't get to
Oh my
witness that.
God.
I was hoping to have an iguana land on me, but it never happened.
Yeah. Anyway, I do garden and I lost like 85 to 90% of my garden.
Oh,
And 2 and 3-year-old trees just got wiped out. And
my
yeah,
goodness.
yeah. So I've been enjoying the little things because as it's been getting warmer, I cut everything back, all the dead stuff. And I literally have trees that are just sticks and they're finally getting new shoots coming back on them. So that to me is like a major milestone. And I was so happy to see that. My roommates are like, oh yeah, that's nice, whoop-de-doo. But to me, because I've nurtured these things for years, it was a huge milestone for me just to see a little bud come out.
Mhm.
And most of them are like fruit trees, avocados and peaches. And I had a Barbados cherry that didn't come back. So yeah, I can appreciate the little things, and I do stop and smell the flowers along the way, literally and figuratively.
Sure.
So yeah, enjoy life every day, even the
Thank
small
you.
things.
Yeah, good times. Well, maybe I'll be calling you for some gardening tips. So there's that. Hey, Pat, and then Deborah, then Stu, then Scott. Pat, you've got the floor. Where's Pat? Pat.
I want to share screen for a minute, okay?
Yeah.
All right, can you see it?
Nope.
Am I
You gotta
doing it?
click the share screen button and then the button that shares the screen. Here it comes. Here it comes. All
Okay,
right. I see savers. Yep. Zoom. Right. Okay. And get rid of that Zoom
I got a
window.
lot of things on here that don't belong here. Okay, how do I do
See
this? I
that
don't want to
show
leave
window.
Zoom.
I just move it out of the way.
Okay, I have to do my camera, right?
Okay. Well, no, right now we're seeing your desktop. All right. So now I'm seeing system. All right. So let's just get
Okay.
to the item that you want to share.
Yeah. All right, back to Zoom. There we go. Back to you. All right, somebody's got to tell me how to share this.
Okay.
I
So
hit
X out of that system profile thing and then share it what you wanted to share.
get out of it. All right, let me work on this and get it up, and then we'll come back.
Can you give us
Okay.
an explanation of the picture? I know it's
Yeah.
1,000 words.
Yeah, I was going to show you when I do my planner. It's a
Mhm.
2-page planner, and on the right I have everything I plan to do for the day,
Mhm.
and on the left I make little boxes, and every time I do something, whether it's a big thing or a little thing, the page, I've got here, I did 7 listings. I uploaded to Gear Bubble. I played a game with my son, so it doesn't have to be work related. But if I do 12 of these little boxes, then I give myself a reward. Can be a small reward. Sometimes it's just having, special something to eat. Sometimes it's given me extra time to read a book.
What
But for
special
me-
something do you eat?
Being depressed, I need these little things to keep me going.
Well, what is that
And-
special something that you eat?
Oh, I don't know. It could be my daughter sometimes makes special desserts that normally I don't eat because I'm diabetic. So I'll give myself a treat and I'll eat one of those. Or like sometimes in the evening, instead of tidying up, I'll watch something on Netflix, or I'll read a novel, something I don't normally do.
Mhm.
So it's appreciating the little things I accomplish during the day,
Mhm.
and maybe I didn't get my 5 listings today, but at least I can look at all the other things that I did get done.
Mhm.
So it's positive reinforcement all day long.
Wow. Good stuff, Pat. Thank you for that.
you.
I'm going to go ahead and stop your screen share.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay,
good.
did I stop it?
I already did. Yeah, it's
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Good times. I had other hands up. Now I see Stu and then Scott. I thought I saw Deborah, but she vanished. Stu, you've got the floor. Stu? Stu has been unmuted the whole time and now he just muted himself. Hi, Stu. Stu, please.
Okay. I have attention issues and organization issues. So when I set targets, I have to think about the issues that I'm going to encounter, or I oftentimes will encounter, and being aware of it is half of the battle, and the other half is moving them out of the way so I can keep my eyes focused on the target. So one of the things is starting from an organized start. So for this, with low hanging, I had to set up file folders. I had to set up favorites on bookmarks, and because there's just so many moving parts to this, and to me that's just like a herd of squirrels. I'm like right. So, but I get so much satisfaction out of getting those obstacles out of the way of my goal. I might not have reached the goal, but these are little bits of dopamine on the way to the goal where you get the big shot of dopamine. And you start becoming, I don't know if I could, addicted's a strong word, but I want that feeling. I want that feeling of completion. I want that feeling of a little bit of organization is just such a big deal for me to see that and see that it's working and see that I'm moving closer to my goal. So I take a lot of pleasure out of the interim markers, milestones on the way to that goal. So what if I have my goal here, I start backing up to the milestones that I got to get to that goal. And as I'm achieving those milestones, there's little bits of that juice that you're talking about. But this is a little bit off topic but related. I had the worst case of eczema my whole life as a kid. Found out later on it was a gluten sensitivity. But anyways, to stop itching, and I'm just talking about 8 years ago. I got rid of it when I went off of gluten. But anyhow, the scratching, bloody sheets in the morning after scratching all night was not uncommon. And I learned something quite by accident. Hot water kills itches. It kills something to do with the histamines. It either deactivates them or what. But not only that, that pain from the hot water produces the biggest dopamine rush I've ever encountered. I had to Google it. I thought something's wrong with me. No, it's a thing. And it only seems to work with ditch. But that pain, when it reaches the, you know, the hottest water that you can stand and then go a bit further, you are just getting waves of this washing over you, and it kills the itch instantly. So anybody, poison ivy, mosquito bites? Not saying to burn yourself, but it works. Anyways, another reward, right? There you go.
Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, this is not medical advice. Please consult your, your medical professional. Thank you, Stu. All right. Yeah, Scott Barker and then Scott Kelly, and I think we're done, unless Deborah's coming back.
And there's just taking up what Stu was talking about, this sense of completion and these milestones, these markers. I think sometimes when you have a goal that is, you know, a really big one, the one that it means you're going to have to stretch, you're going to have to grow, you're going to have to change a lot of things in order to achieve it, which is part of the reason for doing it, because of what you become in the process. That's good, that's exciting, obviously, but sometimes it's harder to emotionally attach to that because it's so beyond your normal realm of thinking, your day-to-day life. It's so far beyond. It's hard to get that emotional attachment sometimes, because I think William James said that the will to do springs from the knowledge that we can do. And when a goal is far way off, the can do it needs to be developed over time. That faith in your ability to actually achieve it needs to be developed. And that takes time. And obviously, until you get that belief that you can really make it happen, the will to make it happen obviously is still under construction as well. And so therefore the dopamine is harder to acquire on a goal that is a long way off. But if you do focus on those smaller goals, those day-to-day goals, those small milestones, that's where I think, because they are within the realm of the possible, or even just on the edge of the possible, that's enough to keep the dopamine really high. And you can get genuinely excited about that, because that's where your focus is. You still have the big goal, and that's fine. And you contemplate that every day, that's fine. But the smaller goals are what give you the real hit each day. And you can get genuinely excited about that and let yourself really go on that, because they are important. And I think sometimes the smaller goals are even more important than the larger goal, because they are within the realm of the possible. And if you can do, then the will to do comes with that. It's because it's when you don't feel you can do, because it's so far off, it's so big, then the will to do subsides. And that's where the smaller goals really come into their own, because you get the dopamine hit, you get this feeling of completion, you sense these important markers are being ticked off on the way, and you get that dopamine hit from the smaller little steps. And from those little peaks, you make your way higher and higher and higher to the mountain. But each one becomes that celebratory moment. And you've grown a little bit to get to there as well. So take nothing away from that. But I think in terms of the logistics of achieving the bigger goal, the smaller steps are very important. In the same way that if you were developing a new car or a new technology, you would be in the zone of what you can do today. You'd forget about tomorrow, forget about yesterday. So what the goal for the moment is, what are you going to do today? That is where 100% of your attention needs to be. You're aware of the long-term goal, and that's fine, but your attention is in the short-term goal, always. And when you achieve that short-term goal, bang, you get a boost. And then, oh, I can't get enough of this. So you set another short-term goal. And it might be the same or a little bit higher than the previous one. And bang, there's another boost. And you go from, well, as Robert Schuller used to say, peak to peak to peak. That's how it goes. Do you remember Robert Schuller, John? He used to say that the peak to peak principle. And I think there's a lot to be said for that. Going from one achievement to the other, but make them small enough so you can jump. A bit like the Hulk, when he would jump from mountain to mountain to mountain. Same sort of thing. I love the Hulk.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Scott. And you're benefiting everyone here in the group. Just got some love from Sherry from UK. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you for acknowledging that you're getting something out of all this. Let's end off with Mr. Scott Kelly. Mr. Scott W. Kelly.
It
going on?
is definitely all the little things
Hmm.
that count. And I mean that too, because, this dopamine thing and how you use it to get your momentum going, and that peak to peak to peak that Scott just mentioned, that I kind of experienced it here in the last couple of weeks. And it's so funny how it happened. So there's humility involved. There's all sorts of little things, but the lessons that were is that I actually was getting these dopamines through an error that I created. I had to fix the error, and how I fixed it was by saying, I'll fix it and make a new one for you. And they went ahead and said, will you? And I said, no problem. And they said, well, will you do it this way? And I says, no problem, I'll do it. So I did it, and I got the product to them. They're very happy. They wrote me a really nice review. But in the process of doing all this, when I fixed this problem and got the things back, I got that rush of dopamine of doing something really good. And actually, I've sold product, and I thought I would get that dopamine from selling something, and I didn't. It just said, you're on the right path, keep doing what you're doing, that, which was a momentum too, but it was a small thing, but it's still that momentum thing. Where this, when I helped the customer, it kind of gave me this little bit bigger of a rush. And then what came about after this is that I went ahead and made more product with what he wanted me to redo. And lo and behold, a week later, I sell 2 more of these items. And I went, now that's a rush, because that peak to peak to peak just happened for me. And it was like, because of the momentum and that enjoyment that I got out of doing what I was doing, and that it meant that much to me to make sure I accomplished that. And I enjoyed it, and I had a smile on my face. I didn't break even. I broke even on the first thing, but I actually made sales from that mistake. So, to me, that is that dopamine that I got out of that thrill, the business itself. But those larger dopamines of what Stu was talking about is like, yeah, that's a bit intense,
Mhm.
and
Like,
you know what?
Yeah, hot water and all that.
Yeah, pain and close to death and things like that will just do things that are unreal. So
Okay.
along with that one, amen. And wow. But that was all I have to share. Was that it was an experience. I've actually experienced some of this stuff. So, and I hope everybody
Good.
else does too.
Thank you,
Good
Scott.
day.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And it looks like you're having a little meet and greet or mastermind session or something tonight. So awesome.
Well, yeah, tomorrow night. We're, a lot of people are needing some help and this and that. And my time is limited. And I'm like, well, I really want to help people as much as I can too. And where they need help. And I like doing show and tells, and on the job training is what I like to call it, because it's a lot of things we're dealing with our skill sets as far as, what we're doing.
Well, there you go. See that, everybody? So you have allies. There you go. You're not alone. So thank you, Scott. Thank you, Stu. Thank you, everyone who shared today. Thank you for those who listened. And if you're seeing this on YouTube, we're glad you're here in spirit. All right, so I'll be back with you again tomorrow. We're gonna have Lana out tomorrow. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna talk about something cool. I don't know what it's gonna be, but it's gonna be great. So we'll see you guys there.